Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get started. Spokane City Council members have agreed to pay a contractor $70,000 who says people living at Camp Hope cost his company thousands of dollars. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk is looking into the complaint tonight.
Cameron Riley Concrete is the company that finished the Thor Freya reconstruction project. In a letter to Mayor Nadine Woodward this past July, President Mike Riley said, quote, "When we started the project in mid-March, we could not imagine the conditions in which we would be putting our employees and other subcontractors and their workers." Riley says from day one they had issues with people from Camp Hope breaking into their locked storage yard, stealing items like batteries, solar panels, and damaging other construction equipment. A porta potty was also set on fire. Riley says crews spent each morning accounting for the lost items and cleaning up the messes left behind. The company reportedly spent $2,800 a week to address vandalism. Tools and equipment are replaceable, but Riley said his main concern was the safety of his crews. In his letter, he said that some had been threatened with knives. Riley said he sympathizes with the homeless, but has to take steps to protect his business and employees. He warned the city last July, saying, quote, "If conditions do not change, I am not confident we can get this project done on time or under budget for the city of Spokane."
I think that both Cameron and Riley completed their job as they said that they would, and I think the city is doing the right thing by paying them this extra money for some impossible to foresee circumstances.
Tonight, in a unanimous vote, Spokane City Council members agreed to pay a $70,000 settlement to Cameron Riley Concrete. KREM 2 reached out to Riley for comment, but did not hear back. In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Happening right now, college students are returning to the Palouse for the first time since the arrest of the WSU PhD student for the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. Before his arrest, WSU students had no idea the suspect was on campus with them. While some students remain on edge, others at WSU feel reassured knowing a suspect is now in custody.
I definitely do feel a lot safer. I do have pepper spray on me at all times just for that extra bit of protection, but it's definitely a lot better coming back knowing that he's caught and people are looking out for you all the time.
Before students return to campus, the university reiterated the safety and security resources that are available, including Coug Safe Rides, which offers a free safe ride to and from campus, along with a free walking service with WSU cadets in the evening hours right there on campus. Meantime, across the border in Moscow, where the King Road home remains an active crime scene tonight, U of I students are preparing to return to class later this week. The university provost, Tori Lawrence, tells KREM 2 the large Idaho State Police presence will start to decrease. As we know, many students started taking their break early after the 4 murders back on November 13th. So for some, this may be their first time back on campus since then.
We are seeing most of our students return. Our enrollment actually looks to be higher than it was last spring right now. And we did offer to students if they wanted to be remote, if they were normally in the Moscow campus and did not want to return, that we would try to work with them on options for classes that could be done remotely. And we had a few students take us up on that, but not a huge amount.
There are also more safety and security programs coming for students this semester, including self-defense classes that students have requested, along with counseling services as well. Meantime, the murder suspect is due back in court this week, and here's what we can expect in the next court proceedings. A status conference hearing is scheduled for this Thursday at 8 a.m. at the request of the suspect's defense attorney. A status conference hearing is typically an opportunity for the judge to make sure both sides are on track, working cooperatively, and are prepared for trial. Koberger's preliminary hearing is not yet scheduled, but it must happen within the next week and a half. We will continue to bring you the latest on the murder investigation right here at KREM 2 News. If you want more of our in-depth coverage so far, just text us the word Idaho to 509-448-2000 and we'll send a link directly to your phone. All right, switching gears to weather. It was kind of a dreary weekend around the inland Northwest, and it was a rainy start to our work week. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy the Goo. And Jeremy, are we expecting more wet weather during the week?
Yes, but we get a little bit of a break as we head through the next couple of days. Right now, temperatures sit on the mild side. Believe it or not, 37 degrees is just 1 degree shy of where we topped out today at 38. That was with all of that rain earlier, but now that the rain has tapered off, we're going to watch things stay mild, but then eventually cool down. We're already starting to see that cool air in places like Sandpoint, Libby, Coeur d'Alene, Deer Park, Elk, and even up in Colville and Chewelah. Temperatures there already hovering close to freezing and likely already starting to see some of that moisture on the roads refreeze. Moses Lake already down to 30, Wenatchee 31. Overnight lows are going to continue to fall. We'll be all the way down near 30 degrees, pretty widespread. That means tomorrow morning likely winds up looking a lot like this morning did. That is going to be patchy fog and some icy conditions on those roads. Over on the west side, the rain continues to fall, but elsewhere, not looking too bad. We're even watching those showers wind down in parts of North Idaho, and those will continue to do so here for the next couple of hours. And then we dry out, and that drying trend continues through tomorrow. In fact, I think we wind up seeing a little bit of sunshine. You're going, oh, no way. It's difficult to do in January, but we have just the right weather elements that once the fog burns off, it'll be mostly cloudy skies, kind of poking through with a little bit of sunshine. A bulk of that moisture stays a little bit farther to the south in the days to come. So Tuesday and Wednesday, we wind up dry, but Thursday, it's that shift back toward more inclement weather. We'll see mostly cloudy conditions and some snow return. But what I'd like to point out, morning lows both Tuesday and Wednesday down near freezing. 31 on Tuesday morning, 27 Wednesday morning. That means it's likely a couple of icy mornings before the return of moisture. And when moisture does return, we're talking a lot of it. The better part of an inch, pretty widespread. We're going to talk why we get so much coming up in just a bit.
All right, we'll talk to you then, Jeremy. Thank you very much. And now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Tonight we are learning how many businesses left downtown Seattle in the past 2 years. New numbers from the U.S. Postal Service show more than 2,000 businesses packed up from 2020 to 2022. That number comes from a change of address data collected by the USPS. It also shows the loss of businesses in Seattle's downtown core is slowing as the area recovers. Well, even if you don't buy a lottery ticket very often, you might want to for this Tuesday's Mega Millions drawing. The jackpot now up to $1.1 billion. No one had that winning ticket for Friday night's drawing. According to Mega Millions, it is the third largest jackpot in the history of the game. No one has won the Mega Millions top prize since October 14th, when the jackpot was $502 million. Good luck to everyone out there. President Joe Biden made it to Mexico today, kicking off the North American Leaders Summit, meeting one-on-one with Mexico's president. The flow of migrants is at the top of their agenda. It comes after President Biden made his first visit to the U.S. border since he's been in the White House. It happened over the weekend. The president's Mexico City trip is the first visit to Latin America by a U.S. president since 2014. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone.
We haven't seen anything like this in a number of years, decades, in fact. And what the governor is saying is that the time has come for a solution out of Olympia that meets the scope of the state's housing and homelessness crisis.
The Washington State Legislature is back in session today with a major focus on the state's budget. Governor Jay Inslee proposing a $4 billion bond measure to build thousands of affordable housing units. Some other things we can expect this legislative session include a proposed state constitutional amendment to further protect abortion rights and more gun safety measures building off of last year's ban on high-capacity magazines. And we now know Governor Jay Inslee proposed budget cuts all funding for the North-South Freeway until the year 2027. It would take an estimated $1.5 billion to finish the North-South Freeway, but this proposed budget could set that completion date back until as late as 2035. Just hours ago, Council member Michael Cathcart released a statement on the proposed funding cut. You can find that statement on our website. Just head to KREM.com. Meanwhile, just across the border, Idaho Governor Brad Little acknowledged the challenges of the coronavirus pandemic and laid out his plan for next year in his State of the State address today. Little proposed massive investments in Idaho's public schools, teachers, and school children under his Idaho First plan. To reach that goal, the governor wants the legislature to invest the $410 million budget of surplus money it approved in last year's special session in this way.
4 years ago, I stated my goal is to make Idaho a place where we all can thrive and where our children and grandchildren choose to stay, and for those that left, choose to return.
Outside of education, the governor proposed hundreds of millions of dollars to improve bridges at airports, provide property tax relief, give state troopers an average $6,000 pay raise, do state water improvement projects, and build a new mental health facility as well. Looking ahead, a public hearing is set for next month on a major housing development on the western city limits of Coeur d'Alene. The Kootenai County Land Company is planning Contractor, which calls for about 2,000 housing units, along with businesses, shops, and restaurants. According to our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press, Contractor is estimated to provide 900 new jobs, generate $4.5 million in property and sales tax revenues, adding up to $2.5 billion in investment. The proposed 442 acres will go before a public city council hearing on February 7th, certainly expecting a great deal of public comment. We'll keep you posted. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. The Seahawks are headed to the playoffs. Sports director Travis Green joining us live to discuss Seattle's matchup against the 49ers. Plus, Seattle Public Schools suing media giant Meta. Why the district says the company is intentionally contributing to the youth mental health crisis. We're back in just 90 seconds.